You know that feeling? You're just slammed all day, meeting after meeting, inboxes blowing up, notifications. You feel incredibly busy.
Mm-hmm. Productive even.
Yeah, like you're doing things faster, right,
Yeah.
responding quicker, but then end of the day, you kind of look back and
Oh, what
think,
could I really do?
exactly, what actually mattered? It's like you're on this express train of tasks, but someone else picked the track.
That feeling is, well, it's precisely the starting point for the sources we're diving into today.
Hmm.
They really unpack this whole problem, this busy bandwagon idea,
Always reacting.
right? Constantly reacting and getting sucked into these infinity pools of distraction. But what's great is they don't just, point out the problem.
They offer a way out.
Yeah, they offer a really practical kind of experimental system to break free. It's not like a rigid rule book, more like a toolkit. Tactics you can try yourself.
Okay, so our mission here for this deep dive is to pull out the core insights from all this material. We really want to help you understand why it's so incredibly hard to focus today,
Mm.
and then give you that roadmap based on these sources to actually, take back control, your time, your attention.
Right.
And the system, it boils down to 4 main steps they outline. First, choose a highlight.
Yep.
Second, get into laser mode. Third, energize your body. And finally, reflect and adjust.
A solid framework.
So let's start, really dig into that core problem first. Why are we all so busy, but maybe not doing the important stuff?
Exactly. And the sources make this crucial point.
Mm-hmm.
The problem isn't that you're necessarily inefficient. Being more productive, in the typical sense,
Yeah.
often just means you're reacting faster to what other people want. Processing email instantly, jumping on every notification.
I feel busy?
You feel super busy, but you're essentially just like treading water faster because someone else splashed.
And while you're busy reacting, you're also constantly getting pulled away by, what do they call them? Infinity pools?
That's the term, yeah.
Mm.
Those apps, websites, feeds,
Yeah.
social media, news, email,
Mm-hmm.
they just keep refreshing.
Endless.
Literally designed to be endless, to keep you scrolling, keep you hooked, basically forever.
Wow. And the sources really talk about the personal cost of that, right? This sort of distracted default state.
Oh, absolutely. The authors are very open about their own struggles. One talks about, missing time playing with his kids because he couldn't stop checking his phone.
Oof.
Yeah. The other put off writing a book, a huge personal goal for years, just trapped in that reactive cycle.
Mm.
These infinity pools, they don't just steal minutes, they steal big chunks of life,
Yeah.
energy.
And what I found interesting is how the sources shift the blame. It's not just you lacking willpower.
Right. That's key. They argue it's not some personal failing. It's a direct result of the technology itself.
Oh, so.
Well, these tools, these infinity pools, they're made with love, as they put it.
Yeah.
Meaning, really smart people build them, constantly tweaking them to be more engaging. There's fierce competition, so they have to get better at holding your attention. And often their whole business model depends on it. More time from you equals more money for them.
So they're basically designed to overwhelm us, not help us focus, creating this distracted default.
Exactly. It's the water we're all swimming in now. And that insight is huge because it tells you.
Willpower isn't enough.
Precisely. Trying to just resist that kind of intentional design through sheer self-control, it's exhausting. It usually doesn't work long term.
So you need a different approach.
You need a system. You need to actively redesign your environment, your habits, to change that default.
Okay, so moving from fix yourself to fix your system. I like that. And the first step in their system, step 1, is all about starting with intention. Choose your highlight.
Yes, this is fundamental.
Instead of staring at a massive to-do list first thing, you decide, what's the one thing I want to make time for today?
Yeah, that single most important thing could be an accomplishment, an experience, some deep work. What gets priority?
And this is a real departure from the classic to-do list, isn't it? The sources aren't big fans.
Not at all. They see traditional lists as often overwhelming, feeding into that reactive busyness. They suggest alternatives for everything else.
Like what?
Maybe a my-do list stuff you'll tackle if you finish your highlight and have bandwidth. Or a burner list for the really low priority things that, let's be honest, probably won't happen today.
Right. Focus on the one, protect the highlight.
Exactly. That's the commitment.
Okay, so you've picked your highlight. How do you actually protect that time? They offer some specific tactics.
You do. Some are straightforward, like just scheduling it.
Yeah.
Literally, put your highlight on your calendar. Treat it like a critical meeting.
Makes sense. What else?
You can also block out time. Use those do not schedule blocks. They call it blocking or even bulldozing
Yeah.
your calendar.
Bulldozing. I like that. But you have to be careful how you use those blocks.
Yeah, that's a good point they make. Be intentional. Use the block for the highlight, or maybe for essential energy stuff we'll get to later.
Huh.
But don't just block out your entire day.
Right. Need some flex.
Exactly. Don't get greedy with the blocking.
They also talk about something a bit controversial. Flaking it till you make it. Giving yourself permission to bail on less important things.
Haha, yeah. That one definitely pushes buttons for people. Saying no is uncomfortable.
Totally.
And the sources get that. They really emphasize the power of just say no. But they know it's hard, so they offer ways to soften it. There's this great method from their friend Kristen Briantes, the Sour Patch Kid method.
Okay.
You start with a clear, firm, kind of sour refusal. Unfortunately, I can't make it, or I won't be able to help with that. Direct.
Got it. Then
Then you follow up immediately with a sweet, authentic ending. But thank you so much for asking. Or it sounds like a really interesting project. Be honest. Be kind.
sour then sweet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe even offer an alternative if you can, like suggesting someone else that lets you protect your time without the guilt trip or coming across as rude.
I love that Sour Patch Kid idea. Makes saying no feel doable. So beyond blocking time, they talk about actively structuring your whole day. Design your day.
Right. Thinking about your time maybe hour by hour and half-hour chunks. They mentioned Sarah Cooper doing this when she left Google to focus on writing.
That sounds kind of rigid, though, like boxing yourself in.
You'd think so. But the sources argue it's actually the opposite. A planned day, they say, creates freedom.
Oh.
It frees you from the constant decision fatigue of what should I do next. That itself drains energy. When you know what the plan is for that block, you can just do it. Focus.
Okay. And part of designing your day is figuring out the best time for that highlight, right? The whole morning versus night thing.
Yeah, the tactic battle. One author, Jay-Z, he wasn't a morning person, but he deliberately became one to tackle his highlight first thing, peak energy.
Wow.
But the other author, Jake, found his best focus time was actually in the evening. So the key is really experimenting. What works for your energy, your schedule.
Try things out. See what sticks.
Exactly. And then once you actually do your highlight for the day, there's this simple but kind of profound tactic. Quit when you're done. Don't just keep working because you scheduled, say, 90 minutes and finished in 60. If you hit your goal, stop. Enjoy the win. Move on intentionally.
Don't just fill the void.
Right. Don't let Parkinson's law kick in where work expands to fill the available time. Finish and be finished.
Okay. So, step 1, choose the highlight, make the time. Step 2 is about protecting that time. Laser mode. Beat distraction.
Which, yeah, as we said, is a huge challenge. Distractions are literally everywhere.
And designed to be compelling.
Intentionally compelling. You can't just wish them away. But you can change how you interact with the tech delivering them. It's about building barriers.
Deliberate barriers.
Yeah, things that change your default behavior so you're not constantly fighting that uphill battle with world power alone.
And some of these tactics sound pretty intense, like the distraction-free phone.
Oh, yeah. Both authors tried this deleting email, social media apps, even the web browser from their phones.
Curiously, how did that go?
They thought people would think they were nuts. But they found it surprisingly okay, and the impact on their focus was massive.
Really?
Jake compared his phone to, like, Bilbo's ring from Lord of the Rings constantly calling to him. Removing the apps silenced that call. Jay-Z just felt this. Quiet return to his day.
Wow. Maybe worth trying, even short term.
That's what they suggest. Even a short experiment can totally reset your perspective on how much you really need that constant connection.
Okay, but maybe less drastic options, too.
Oh, for sure. Plenty of smaller barrier tactics, like just making tempting apps harder to get to. Change passwords to something crazy complex that you store in a manager, like Jay-Z did for sites he overused.
That's friction.
Exactly. Turn off almost all notifications. Most are just interruptions pulling you away from your priorities. Clean up your digital space at day's end, close tabs, log out of stuff, change your browser homepage to something boring, like a clock.
Physical barriers, too.
Absolutely. Vacationing off the grid is the extreme kill the Wi-Fi. But a lighter version they mention is changing your Wi-Fi password and getting a friend to hide it for 24 hours.
Just to feel that lack of instant access.
Right. That friction makes the distracted default harder to slip into.
And they warn about time craters.
Yeah. Those moments where you look up and realize, like, an hour just vanished into nothing productive. A social media scroll hole or something.
It's up there.
We all have. Their advice is to shift your mindset. View apps as tools for specific tasks, not hangouts. Get in, do the thing, get out, limit your time.
Wow.
Jay-Z used Twitter only on his laptop, only for work stuff, 30 minutes max, going straight to notifications, avoiding the main feed entirely. Jake used a browser plugin limiting him to, like, 4 minutes a day on certain sites.
4 minutes. That forces efficiency.
Totally. It trained him to be super focused.
What about communication beyond apps, like email?
Yeah, they address that. Slow replies for email is one tactic. You don't need a big announcement. Just stop replying instantly. Over time, people's expectations adjust. They saw it happen at Google Ventures.
Huh. Set the pace implicitly.
Right. And Jay-Z really wanted a send-only email app for his phone back then to avoid the inbox vortex.
Meh.
Now, apps like Compose actually do that.
Interesting. What about news? That's a big one.
Huge. They argue the 24/7 news cycle is just incredibly inefficient, plus anxiety-inducing.
Tell me about it.
Their tactic: ignore the news. Well, not completely ignore, but get it weekly instead of constantly checking. Jay-Z switched to reading The Economist once a week back in 2015. Finds he stays informed without the daily churn and stress.
Weekly news. That's a thought.
Yeah.
And TV.
The time gold mine, they call it. Because, wow, the average time spent there is huge.
So tactics for TV.
Gut the TV news even less efficient than reading it. Maybe ditch the TV entirely for a projector adds setup friction. Switch from all-you-can-eat streaming to buying shows a la carte. Makes it a conscious choice.
Takes away the endless buffet feel.
Exactly. Jake tells a story about moving to Switzerland, not having a TV for a month, and realizing they didn't miss it. Paying 99 cents for an occasional download felt intentional, not just a default time sink.
Simple physical things help too, right? Like just closing the door.
Totally. Shutting the door, wearing headphones, even with no music signals. I'm focusing now. To yourself and others.
Okay, what about using the environment positively?
Good question. They suggest creating a laser soundtrack. Specific music you only play during focused work. It becomes a trigger for your brain.
Like Pavlov's dog, but for focus.
Kinda. And using a visible timer. Like the time timer watch that shows time disappearing. Makes time feel tangible. Creates a gentle urgency. Jake even used it playing with his son to be fully present for that block.
Love that. Okay, one last warning in this section about tools.
Yeah, the lure of fancy tools. Jay-Z shares his own Maury app disaster, poured time into this perfect productivity app that then became obsolete.
Ouch.
The point is, obsessing over finding the perfect tool is often just another distraction. Simple, reliable tools are usually better. Less fragile, less fuss. Keep the focus on the work.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've chosen the highlight, built barriers for laser mode, but focus takes energy. Which brings us to step 3, energize. Use the body to recharge the brain.
Exactly. This principle is so fundamental but easily overlooked. Your brain runs on energy, and that energy comes from taking care of your body.
It's not just about mental tricks.
Not at all. The sources use this fun analogy, Urk the hunter-gatherer. Look at how humans lived for millennia for clues about what our bodies and brains actually need.
Compared to our modern lives.
Right. Sedentary processed food, constant stimulation. Very different from Urk's world. So they pull out 5 core Energize principles from that.
What are they?
Keep it moving, eat real food, get enough sleep, go off the grid, meaning find quiet and make it personal, face-to-face connection.
Okay, let's break those down. Keep it moving. Tactics.
The main one is exercise every day, but don't be a hero. Consistency over intensity is key. Aim for maybe 20 minutes, but even 10 counts.
Give yourself credit.
Totally. Jay-Z tells a story about getting injured trying to be a basketball star versus just doing a quick stroller jog, which actually felt energizing. Just move.
What kind of movement?
Pound the pavement is huge. Walking is fantastic. Great for thinking, processing, maybe listening to this deep dive. Jay-Z used walks for planning.
Good synergy. Any other ways to move?
Yeah, I like this one. Inconvenience yourself. Look for chances to move outside formal exercise. Walk to the store, cook from scratch, take the stairs, do chores manually.
Build it into life.
Exactly. And if time is super tight, squeeze in a super short workout, like a 7-minute routine, quick push-ups. Something is way better than nothing.
Okay, principle 2. Eat real food. What's the core idea?
Eat like a hunter-gatherer. Basically focus on simple, unprocessed stuff.
Yeah.
Real food, they mentioned Michael Pollan. Eat food, mostly plants, not too much.
Practical tips.
Central Park your plate. Love this visual. Start by filling half your plate with salad or veggies. Guarantees you get greens.
Smart. What else?
They suggest trying stay hungry. Maybe experimenting with skipping a meal or snack sometimes. Intermittent fasting, like a friend of theirs does. And a fun one. Go on the dark chocolate plan.
I can get behind that one. Okay, next. Get enough sleep. Crucial.
Non-negotiable for focus. Tactics include the old classic alarm clock across the room. forces you out of bed.
Stops the snooze button cycle.
Yep. Fake the sunset, dim lights, avoid screens before bed to signal wind down time to your brain. Sneak a nap if you can. And a big one from Kristen Briantes again.
Oh, yeah.
Don't jet lag yourself. Stick to a consistent wake-up time, even on weekends. Sleeping in massively messes with your body clock, like social jet lag. Makes it harder to pay off sleep debt.
Consistent wake-up. Interesting. Okay, go off the grid. This means finding quiet.
Yeah, intentional quiet. They talk about meditation not just for rest, but as brain exercise. Guided apps are an easy starting point. Just disconnecting from the constant noise is key for recharging attention.
Makes sense. And the last energy principle. Make it personal, face-to-face.
Right. Real human connection. Connect with your energy givers, people who genuinely recharge you. Jake actually keeps a list.
A list of energizing people. Love it.
And a simple daily tactic. Eat without screens. Ensure some face-to-face time during meals. Gives your brain a break from constant input.
Good habit. They also had a specific note for caregivers.
Super important point, yeah. The put on your own oxygen mask first tactic. If you're caring for others, these energy tactics can feel selfish.
Right, like you don't have time.
Exactly. But the source is stress.
Mm.
You have to take some care of yourself to have the sustained energy and focus to care effectively for others. It's essential, not selfish.
Powerful reminder. Okay, so we've highlighted, lasered, energized. What's the final step?
Step 4 is reflect. Adjust and improve.
How does that work?
It's actually really simple, just a quick daily habit. End of the day, take a few minutes, jot down some notes.
About what?
What tactics did you try? Did they work? Feel good? How was your energy? Did you make time for your highlight? And importantly, what brought you joy today?
Focusing on what worked and what felt good.
Exactly. Because this reflection is how you customize the whole system for you. There's no single right way. You're experimenting, learning what fits your life, your energy.
And it's okay if you mess up.
Totally okay. They
Yeah.
really emphasize it's fine to fall off the wagon. Every day is a fresh start. The reflection just helps you learn and tweak for tomorrow. Neither author uses every tactic all the time. It changes.
Circumstances change, tactics change.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
And they found something else powerful in the reflection.
Yeah.
Just noticing and feeling grateful for the moments the system did work when you nailed your highlight, felt that energy boost, that gratitude, becomes a really strong motivator to keep going, keep experimenting.
A positive feedback loop.
Exactly.
So ultimately, this whole system, it's not just about getting more done faster.
No, not at all. The sources are clear. It's about intentionality. Yeah. Resetting defaults, building barriers, boosting energy, reflecting. It's all geared towards gaining control over your attention.
Your most valuable resource.
Absolutely. And directing that attention towards what truly matters to you.
And the outcome, if you stick with this, the sources talk about making time for those big someday goals.
That's the payoff they highlight. Their own stories are pretty amazing. Jake spent 7 years chipping away in the evenings, making time to write, and eventually became a full-time writer.
Wow, 7 years. Consistency.
Total consistency. And Jay-Z, he made this huge life shift, living and working on a sailboat, which started by just consistently prioritizing that dream, making small bits of time for it, day after day.
These weren't overnight things.
Not at all. They call it the snowball effect. Small, intentional daily choices, building momentum over time, leading to these massive changes. Because they made time.
So wrapping this all up, the core message seems really empowering. It's not about finding the perfect system, but having tools to experiment.
Exactly. The make time approach gives you the tools, the principles, the tactics to break out of that reactive hamster wheel.
And start directing your own life.
Towards what you genuinely care about. It's about experimentation, learning about yourself.
The value isn't in adopting everything wholesale.
Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
It's understanding the why behind the distractions and the energy drains, then picking 1 or 2 tactics that resonate with you right now. Try them. See how they feel. Reflect. Adjust.
Build your system.
Build your system that serves your life.
Which kind of brings us back to you, the listener. Think about that. How could small, consistent choices, starting today, choices based on your intention, not just default or distraction, how could those compound? Those small daily pushes, where could they lead you? Towards your biggest someday goals? Your version of writing that book or sailing away? What's your snowball? And what's one tiny push you can give it starting today?